Hi, and welcome back to Math with Sophia, a part of Sola Math. Find more math resources at solamath.com. In this video, we'll be covering how to graph linear equations, both when they're presented in slope-intercept form and when they're presented differently. So we're going to start with this equation right here. The equation we're given here is in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, where the y is always isolated by itself on one side of the equation, and the rest of the equation is on the other side. So the y has to be by itself for it to be in slope-intercept form. The m in slope-intercept form represents the slope, and the b represents the y-intercept. The first thing we want to do when we graph these equations is identify the slope and y-intercept. So the slope is always the value that is with the x, the coefficient of the x. So in our equation here, 1/2 is our slope. Slope equals 1/2. And then the y-intercept is the value without the variable, so it's going to be +3. So y-intercept is +3. Now that we have that, the first thing we're going to do is graph our y-intercept. The y-intercept is the value of y when x equals 0. So when x is 0, y is 3. So the y-intercept goes right on our y-axis. We look for 3, and that's where we plot it. So our first point is going to be 0, 3, right there. Then we use the slope to find the rest of our points. So slope is 1/2. And slope is in the form rise over run. The top number is the rise, and the bottom number is the run. That means the top number tells us if we go up or down. If the number on top is positive, we'll go up. If the number on top is negative, we'll go down. And then the bottom number tells us the run. If the number on the bottom is positive, we go to the right. If the number on the bottom is negative, we go to the left. So in our equation, both of these numbers are positive, which means we're going to go up 1 unit, that's the rise, and then to the right 2 units. So we're going to look at this point here. We go up 1 unit and to the right 1, 2 units. So we'll have our next point right there. And we'll do that again. Starting here, we go up 1, to the right 1, 2. And our next point will be there. And now we can graph our line based on these 3 points, but we can also get more points using the slope. The slope can also be written as -1 over -2. That's because when we do a negative divided by negative, it equals a positive. So this value, -1 divided by -2, is the same thing as +1/2. We couldn't do that if we just did -1 over +2. That would not be equal. We also couldn't do +1 over -2. That would not equal this either. But if we do negative divided by negative, it is the same. So now that we have it written like this, let's write what that means for our slope. So since it's negative, we are going to go down 1 unit, and the number on the bottom tells us left or right. Since it's negative, we're going to go left 2 units. So looking at our point here, go down 1 and left 1, 2. So we're left with a point right there. We'll do that again, down 1 to the left 2. And now we can draw an accurate line. All right, let's look at another example. Here we have another equation in slope-intercept form. So remember, the number with the x, that's the coefficient of the x, is the slope. And then the number by itself is the y-intercept. So the slope is 3, and our y-intercept is -5. So remember, the first thing we do is plot our y-intercept, which is going to be on our y-axis. -5 is down at the bottom, so here is our first point, 0, -5. Next, we look at the slope. Since our slope is 3, we need it in rise over run form. If it's not given to us in a fraction, all we have to do is put it over 1, because 3 divided by 1 is the same thing as 3. Now we can figure out how much to rise and run. So since it's a +3, that means we're going to go up 3 units. Since it's a +1, we're going to go to the right 1 unit. So let's look at our point right here. We go up 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. And so our next point is going to be right there. And we'll do it again. Up 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. And one more time, up 3 to the right 1. And we can go ahead and draw our line. Let's look at another example. Here we're given another equation in slope-intercept form. And remember, I can tell that because the y is completely isolated on one side of the equation. It has no coefficient other than 1. It is all by itself. So given a slope-intercept form, we can identify our slope and our y-intercept. So our slope is -2/5. And our y-intercept is +1. So we're going to go ahead and graph our y-intercept at +1. Now we're going to determine what our slope is telling us. The negative, there's one negative sign, so we can either put it with the 2 or with the 5. Either one will give us correct and accurate points. So I'm going to start by putting the negative with the 2. That would mean we are going to go down 2 units because the 2 is negative. The 5 is positive, so that means we're going to go to the right 5 units. So starting here, we go down 1, 2 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 2 and to the right 5 gives us a point right there. Now let's look at our slope again and make the 5 the negative value. So that means, since the 2 is positive, that means we're going to go up 2 units, and the 5 is negative, means to the left 5 units. So we'll start at our point here. We go up 1, 2, and to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our point's going to be right there. And now we can draw our line. Let's look at one more example. So here we're given an equation, a linear equation, but it is not in slope-intercept form. The y is not isolated. So in order to graph this, the first thing we're going to do is solve for y. Get this equation in slope-intercept form by getting y by itself. So 6y minus 2x equals 24. We'll add 2x to both sides. We get 6y equals 2x plus 24. Divide by 6 on both sides. The 6's cancel and we get y. These cancel out. And then we get y equals 2x divided by 6 would be 2 over 6x. That simplifies to 1 over 3x plus 24 divided by 6 gives us 4. So now we have our equation in slope-intercept form. The y is all by itself. Now we can identify the slope and the y-intercept. Our slope is 1/3 and our y-intercept is 4. So first we're going to graph our y-intercept, which is 4. So we put the point 0, 4. And then we use our slope. 1/3 tells us we're going to go up 1 unit, and 3 is positive, so to the right 3 units. So starting here, we go up 1, to the right 1, 2, 3. And we get a point right there. All right, now let's look at the slope if we changed it so we can go in the other direction. So -1 over -3. So remember, we have to change both of the signs. Negative divided by negative to give us a positive. So that means now we're going to be going, if it's -1 on top, we're going to go down 1. And negative on the bottom means left. So look at our point here, go down 1, to the left 1, 2, 3, and we get a point right there. And we can go ahead and graph our line. And that is graphing linear equations. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more.